The FDA just approved a new nutrition facts panel. So what are the changes and what is it going to look like for us when we go to the grocery store? That's what we're going to talk about today. Now, before we get into everything, if you are new here, hello, I am Sarah. I'm a registered dietitian, and this channel is all about healthy eating and nutrition and healthy recipes, healthy lifestyle, all that kind of stuff. So if you're into that and you want more of it, then make sure that you click that subscribe button. Now, I normally upload on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but this nutrition facts panel thing just came out, and so I thought that I should make a video about it right away. So you're getting a little bonus video this week. And the nutrition facts panel changes have been in the works for a couple years now, and we've kind of been hearing things here and there about what they were considering, what the changes might include, but now the FDA has actually approved the new guidelines, so we have something solid to work with, and there are some pretty interesting changes coming down the pipe. One thing they're changing is that they're now going to highlight the calorie and serving size information on the label. So it's going to be bolded out, it's a little bit bigger as far as the font goes compared to the rest of the label, just to help those pieces of information really stand out when you look at the label. And if you do want to see pictures of this, I'll put a link below the video to the FDA's website where they have some images as well as some more details about everything that's going on with the label. Another thing they're changing is serving size. So first off, they're going to update the serving sizes because the serving size is supposed to represent what the average person would eat in one serving, not necessarily what is recommended. So when they first made the guidelines in the early 90s, they went off of what, the average person would eat, but that changes over time, so they're going to update those to be more current. So an example of this would be soda. Previously, the serving size was 8 ounces, but now they're bumping that up to 12 ounces. Another thing they're changing with the serving size has to do with things that are more than one serving, but the average person would still probably eat as one serving. So going with the soda example again, like a 20-ounce soda, that's more than the 12-ounce serving, but the average person just drinks the whole thing. So now that label will have everything listed as one serving, the whole package, even though it's more than the reference serving that they're using for most things. So a 12-ounce soda and a 20-ounce soda are both going to have nutrition information for that whole container, which is really helpful. Another example of this would be a can of soup. Most people eat a whole can of soup. They don't eat half of one, so now that would be reflected in the label. And the whole idea behind this is to make it easier for people when they look at something to actually be able to use the information, because right now for some things it's a lot of, calculation and figuring stuff out, and it can be misleading for people. So having it just put right out there so it's super simple for people to understand, that's the real goal of these changes. Along these same lines, for something that maybe is bigger than like a 20-ounce soda, but still someone might drink it as a full serving, they're also making some adjustments there. So for like a 24-ounce soda, which is 2 servings, or like a pint of ice cream, it's not necessarily true that someone's going to eat the whole thing, but they still might. So for those, they're doing dual columns. So it will have the amount for one serving size, but also the amount for the whole container. So depending on what you're eating, you can still see and understand what's going on. They're also adding a line for added sugars so people can know whether the sugar in their food is naturally occurring, like the kind you might have in fruit, or the natural sugar in milk, versus sugars that have been added into the product. They're removing the section that says calories from fat because we now know that it's not really about fat, it's about what kind of fat you're eating. So they're taking that out of there because they don't think it's really relevant information, and I say thumbs up for that. They're also making some changes to the certain nutrients that are required to be on the label. So right now it's been that iron, calcium, vitamin C, and vitamin A were all required because at the time the panel was made, it was thought that these are nutrients that Americans might not be getting enough of, so we want to make sure that's on there for every single food. Well, they're changing that a little bit. They're keeping the iron and calcium, but now they're swapping in vitamin D and potassium. So the vitamin A, vitamin C, not as much of a concern anymore, so people can still put that on the label voluntarily if they want to, but it's not required to be on there. So now when you look at a label, when these new labels come out, on every single one you should be seeing iron, calcium, vitamin D, and potassium listed. And they're also making some adjustments to certain nutrients as far as what the recommended amount is, just to get those numbers more in line with the current science. So that's kind of the overview of the changes that are happening. And again, if you want more details, definitely check out those links. But what does all this actually mean for us, the person in the store buying this stuff? Well, I think these changes, for the most part, are positive. I mean, the idea of making it easier for people to actually understand the labels is super helpful, because I think for the average person, it can be kind of confusing and tedious to look at this stuff. So I think some of these changes are going to help. One thing I will say though, for me, is I do think that we have to remember that if we're eating an overall healthy diet based on real whole foods, you're probably not reading a lot of labels anyways. I know for me, I don't buy a lot of packaged products. I mean, there are things here and there, but they're not the bulk of my diet. So the time I spend actually reading labels is pretty small, even though I'm a dietitian, just because the stuff I'm buying doesn't even have a label on it. When you're getting fresh fruits and vegetables and other fresh products, there isn't a nutrition facts panel to go through and try to decipher. And I would also say, even though all this information is super helpful, when you are reading the nutrition information, make sure you're looking at that ingredients list. To me, that's the #1 thing, because that's how you actually know what's in your food and not just the nutritional breakdown. And a lot of times that is just as, if not more important than the calories or the sugar or anything else. You have to know what you're actually eating. Now, the new labels are going to be required starting on June 26th, 2018. So we still have a couple years, and then food companies that are a little bit smaller, they're gonna have some extra time just to get, caught up and get everything in line with the regulations. So still a little time, but I'm sure that we'll see this start to come out over those next 2 years as more and more food companies adjust their labeling to get on board with the new requirements. So that's what's going on with the new nutrition facts panel. I hope you liked this video and found the information helpful, and let me know in the comments, what do you think about these changes? Do you think they're positive, and do you have any other questions about them? And if you're new to my channel and you want more healthy eating tips and nutrition info and healthy recipes, make sure that you subscribe, because eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle really doesn't have to be complicated, and I want to show you how to do it. And if you're loving the free info here, but you're finding that you need something more personalized, don't forget that I do offer one-on-one nutrition sessions. So if you're interested in working with me, just let me know and we can get that set up for you. Thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.